Hello viewers, in our last bubble sort tutorial you would notice that the value of length is decreasing by 1. You may ask the question, why is the value of length actually decreasing by 1? The reason is not far-fetched. Let's take a look at the sample that we have here. Now, from this point, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values. And what we intend to do is that we have taken note of the fact that the length of our array, or list as the case may be, is 5. Alright? Good. Now we want a situation whereby when we perform a swap between 4 and 2, remember that we are relying on while whatever count we are performing is actually less than the entire length minus 1. Okay, so as you can see here, while count is less than length minus 1. Now, we want a situation whereby after checking the first value, 4 and 2, we have to go over to 2 and 6. So from 2 to 6, how many values do we still have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is why our length have to decrease in order to accommodate this navigation. Without the length decreasing, okay, now what it means is that we might actually exceed the array. Assuming we left the length to be 5 and we now run through again, what this means is that we are going to check 1, 2, 3, 4 and another length which does not exist, another index which does not exist. So for us to take note of this, we have to decrease the length by 1. So if we go over here, we decrease the length yet again by 1. Otherwise, if we leave it the way it is, we now have 2 more non-existing indices to consider, and we cannot risk that. So I believe the reason why we have chosen to decrement this length is now clear to everyone. And of course, in contrast, the reason why counter is being incremented is because we are moving from one index to another. So our counter is representing the index numbers. So the first index is 0. When we increment by 1, we want to consider here. So incrementing by 1, we have 4 to compare with 5. Now, how do we do comparison? Here, notice that we are storing the first value that will pick in an existing index. Okay, let's say for instance our index is 0 here. We take that 0 and store it temporarily in the temp variable. Now the essence of storing it in the temp variable is for us not to lose it entirely, because if we fail to do this and we come over here and say, okay, let's now store in the first element the second element, it means that we have actually lost whatever was previously in the first element. So for us not to lose it, we have to take whatever is in the first element and store it in the temp variable, just like in this case. So storing it in this temp variable will now allow us the freedom to assign to the first variable whatever that is contained in the second variable. And next, we are now going to assign to the second variable, of course, the temp variable, which was initially in the first variable position. So this is actually what we are doing here, and I believe this has actually cleared the air on this particular concept. If you are still figuring out how we came about with this particular supporting explanation, I will recommend that you watch the previous bubble sort tutorial. This is simply an addition to throw more explanations on this particular concept. I believe this is well understood now. Thanks for watching, and as usual, support by subscribing.